I'm a big believer that the church is God's chosen instrument.
Mm.
The church is what is most important in terms of organizations. And when you study parachurch ministries, they've really become much more numerous or frequent in number over the last century or two. They weren't really much of a thing prior to the last 100 or 200 years.
Mm.
And a lot of parachurch ministries have forgotten that they're there to support the church, not the other way around. And the main fruit that I see with Possibilities Africa is strengthening the church in Africa. So when you think about the impact of strengthening pastors who are leading churches and the trickle-down effect on all of the people in all of their different congregations, the thousands of pastors at this point that have been impacted by PA, and then all the congregations. So you see the gospel spreading, much more in depth. You see better preaching. You obviously see the economic impact. So the fruit is really countless, but I think it really comes back to a simple concept of strengthening the church.
One of the communities that we had visited on our first missions trip together, David was able to go back and visit that community, and there had been an orphanage in that community, and the pastor had gone back to his community and he was preaching the gospel, and their church was growing, and the Lord convicted them that they needed to take in all of the kids that were orphans. And so they shut down the orphanage in their town because all of the members of the church took in the kids. And so they were literally serving the need that these kids had to be in homes and to be loved on and to have the hope of the gospel.
That was a neat convergence of spiritual and economic growth, because you had the spiritual growth of knowing we're to love God, and God's command for us is to love people, and specifically take care of orphans being one of those subpoints on that. While simultaneously you saw economic growth, equipping them to run businesses and grow their income. And in our eyes, they were still poor, but in their eyes, their income had gone up 5x, 10x, 20x. And so in their eyes, they were fairly wealthy in comparison. And they just brought that economic growth with the spiritual growth together and took all those kids in. And that's just the gospel in application that is so neat to see.